Hello all. Today I will going to be present for SYBMS and for SYBBI 4th semester business economics PPT. Now today I will going to be take a business economics from module number 1 chapter number 4, which is known as trade or business. Now how we can define a trade cycle or business cycle? Cyclical fluctuations are characterized by alternative waves of expansion and contraction. They do not have fixed rhymes, but they are the cycle in that phases of contraction and expansion recur frequently and in fairly similar pattern. Business cycle are upward and downward movement in output, prices, interest rate, employment, profitability and a real income. Now there are various features or characteristic of business trade or business cycle we're going to be learn here. The firstly we can say the fluctuation in an aggregate economy activity, where the trade cycle of fluctuation in a level of aggregate economy activity rather than fluctuation in a single specific economic variable. It involves changes in many variables such as GDP, employment, investment, profit as well as financial market variable. The secondly, which is known as expansion and contraction, trade cycle are accompanied by expansion and contraction, or you can say recession. There are various important characteristics of an expansion that we're going to be learned with the help of pointwise. The rising consumption, production and a real GDP. During expansion, consumption expenditure rise sharply. A businessman react with raising production. Real GDP raises. As a consequence, business investment in plant and machinery also raise sharply. Now nextly, increase in employment. Demand for labor increase during the expansion. This leads to the higher employment. Third is rise in prices. As demand for goods and material rise, their price start rising. This may be accompanied by rise in the wages and prices of services. Hence, prices tend to rise during expansion. And lastly is that is rise in profit, demand for credit and stock prices, where the business profit are rise sharply during expansion. Anticipating this, stock prices rise and investor expect a business upturn. Since the demand for credit rise sharply, the interest rate may also during the depression part. Now we're going to learn there are 4 different phases of business cycle. The firstly we can say prosperity, the secondly we can say recession, third phases is depression or you can say contraction, and lastly we can say recovery or revival. Now I will going to be explain what means by prosperity here. Prosperity shows here in increase in output, employment, investment, demand, profit, bank loan, price, standard of living, etc. are main features of phase of prosperity. Where the bank credit go rapidly, even though rate of interest is higher, there is a general expansion of credit, idle fund and channelized into productive areas since stock prices are highly due to the high profitability. Now next is recession. Now in a recession, there is a period of contraction or slowing down of economic activity. This phase brings when the downward process in the growth rate become rapid and output, employment, prices, etc. register a decline. The growth rate may still remain above the steady growth line. Thirdly, the depression and the contraction is there. Now, a depression is a period of low economic activity. Growth rate goes below the steady growth. There is a considerable reduction in the production, employment, income, investment, demand and price during this phase. Bank deposit and the credit shrink due to the general decline in economic activity. Investment in stock become less profitability and are less attractive. And lastly is a recovery. In a recovery, various exogenous and endogenous factors are responsible for reviving the economy. When the economy enters the phases of recovery, the economy registers upward trend in output, income, employment, etc. But the growth rate may still remain below the steady growth rate. Control business, that is our trade cycle. Now, the firstly we can say monetary policy and secondly we can say fiscal policy. Now, in a monetary policy, we are going to be learn regarding a banking policy, and in a fiscal policy, we are going to be learn regarding that is a taxation or public expenditure or public that is a debt. in a monetary policy, that all there is a banking system which is controlled by the RBI in our country, and they have their own policy, and that policy is known as a monetary policy, which is made every quarterly, made by the RBI. But in the fiscal policy, you can see this is made by the government of India in our country, and all the rules and regulation regarding taxation, that is revenue collection, with the help of direct taxes, with the help of indirect taxes, with the help of, that is how I can say, public expenditure or government expenditure, as well as there will be a government debt, or you can say public debt. They will going to make a borrow from the internal country as well as external country. That all these things come under fiscal policy. Okay, thank you to all of you.